So the first question I've got for you is, how does one become life coach of the
Is
year?
this it? Have we actually started now?
Yeah, cameras are rolling, are you? Yeah. So I was really curious because obviously I'm from a coaching background.
Yes.
Um,
You were a PT, weren't you?
yeah, years ago.
Yeah.
So I spent most of my 20s personal training.
Yeah.
And still to this day, people still ask me sometimes. I've done it for 7 years now. And I'm 40. I turned 40 this year. And still to this day, people ask me.
Really?
I'm still PTing. And it's like hard shit. I did do it for 12 years, to be fair. And I had some relative success with it. But I really value coaching
Yeah.
in that sense because I'm from that. I've kind of got so ingrained in it that, like, even to this day, I still hire coaches for myself. I still hire, like,
Good.
when I need mentors, I hire them.
Yeah.
And I'm fully aware of all my blind spots.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
when I fall into them.
Yeah.
So if someone's not working, it's like blind spot. I need a coach, I need a mentor, I need someone to, like, show me this.
Yeah. Amazing.
And I've got no, like, I might have a bit of an ego, but I try not to have an ego around me shortcomings. So I just try to, like, bridge the gap in any way, because I always say there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm just trying to make my part of the wheel better.
Absolutely. And self-awareness is just the most powerful thing I think a person can have.
Yeah.
And sometimes we presume that everybody is self-aware and they're not, and it does take a bit of work. So, yeah.
It does, yeah. It does, yeah. Is that the kind of, like, work that you do?
Yeah, so your first question of how did I become a life coach is actually quite interesting, because this was never, like, on my bingo card in my life.
Really?
No, I never intended to work for myself. Wasn't interested in any of that. I just wanted a 9-to-5, stable income, all of those things that, you know, you want growing up. And entrepreneurship was never something that ever appealed to me, like, as a young person. However, it was coaching really that kind of sucked me in. So 2019, I was working 9-to-5, great salary, good job, you know, worked at a great place. And I went back to work after my second maternity leave. So I had 2 daughters, both under the age of 4 or 5 at the time.
So how old are they now?
They're 10 and 8.
Good age.
Yeah, great age. And it was a great age then. And there was something about that transition into, like, motherhood and going back to work, and it made me question quite a lot of things in my life. And for that year, 2019, I felt like I was a bit disconnected from my life. I'd, like, gone through that process of ticking all the things off. Like, you know, you work hard and, like, progress within a company, get married, you know, get a house, do that house up, sell it, you know, get another house, get your forever home, all of those things. And I had all the things on the list, but there was, like, just, 2019 wasn't a good year.
So how old
for
are you
me
at this point?
personally. So I'm in my late 30s at this point. And there was something about the age as well. As you said, you're turning 40 soon. My mum was diagnosed with breast cancer in her 40s, and she didn't live beyond 50. And for me, there was just, I kept having this feeling of, I'd get out my car in the morning and I'd close the door and I'd think, if I only had, like, 10 years left, is this sort of what I'd be doing? And I was just starting to, like, question things. There was a bit of an unraveling happening for me. And I was on a networking event and I met a coach. And I honestly, Steve, you've always been into this stuff, but I was not into it. I wasn't into talking about my feelings. I was a proper, like, you know, like, I think losing me mum at an early age, I was like, right, buckle up, you know, work hard. This is it now. This is life. Like, you can't mope around. You've got to move forward. So I didn't really talk about my feelings. I didn't give myself a lot of time to process things. I was just on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the next thing, until it became just like life felt like I was on that hamster wheel, and it just got a little bit, I wasn't feeling as happy as I thought I would be when I had all the things that I wanted. So I was at this networking event and I met a life coach, and she said, you know, I'm training and I'd love to offer you some free sessions so I can practice. And I thought, well, I've got nothing to lose because I'm not really where I want to be in a mindset perspective at the moment. So I'll give it a go. And it was just the most powerful and
blow your
transformative
mind?
experience. It blew my mind. It blew my mind. I've said this on a podcast before, but the first question that she asked me was, who is Angela?
Wow.
And I was like, well, I'm a mum, I'm a wife, I'm head of culture for an online retailer. And she was like, oh yeah, that's great. You know, they're all the roles you play in life, but I'm interested in like, who is Angela? And I was just like dumbfounded by that question, because I'd only known myself to be those titles throughout my life, from like student to fiance to wife to mother. Like, I'd never thought of myself as a person beyond those titles. And there was something in that first question that just set me on a journey of self-discovery that I continue to be on till now. And it was so huge for me that, you know, within 12 months, I said to my husband, right, I know this isn't in our life plan, but I'm going to start actively saving so that 5 years from now, I can leave the business I'm in and I can set up and be a coach. And he was a bit like, yeah, you know, like just like none along agreeing with me. And then, of course, COVID happened.
Yeah.
And the 5 years became 5 months, and I left, and I just thought, now's the time, because everyone right now is struggling with their mindset.
Yeah.
So I trained, became accredited all within like 6 months, and had to learn then what that meant in terms of working for myself, earning my own money, running a business, promoting myself, like stuff like this. And it was through the love of coaching really that drove me towards that road of entrepreneurship.
Wow, that's amazing. There's a lot in there that I'm like resonating with hard.
I could see you nodding away.
Yeah. So, for context, I was like toying with the idea of doing some video stuff, like when I was a PC, just toying with it.
Yeah.
And then, I'd basically done every role in fitness you could imagine. Like, I tried everything.
Yeah.
And I was always had this like ambition in my head, but not really any direction with the ambition. I just knew that it was like, I'm meant for more than doing this thing.
Yeah.
And it was all, but no matter what role I had, it was always like, I'm meant to do a bit more than it.
Yeah.
And then I ended up delivering apprenticeships, level 2 and 3 PT, and I was traveling everywhere. And Becky, we didn't have Harry till I was 34. So he's 5 now. And I was like, I remember being stuck in traffic. I tell the story all the time. And she was pregnant. I was toying with the idea of like leaving being a PT. This was like same sort of time, 2018, 19. And I was like, I remember being stuck in traffic and just thinking, fuck this shit. I'm just done. I was spending like 5-6 hours a day in the car. Like, it's just no. Yeah. So I started doing some video editing. But what happened was, funny enough, COVID happened.
Yeah.
So I was kind of forced. And then I started doing video editing in just doing it.
Of course, because as one industry slows, another one was in boom.
And the gym that I was in at the time said to me, can you stop, just do our videos for us? And I was like, well, I can't come and like film anything because it's COVID, we're all locked down. So no, just do the editing. So our whole business model was literally, you would send us a video, I'd edit it and send it back, that'd be it.
Yeah.
And then like I was doing it in the spare room, and then all of a sudden you see the baby clothes stacking up behind you. And you're on the Zoom call, and it's like, oh, I just can't continue doing this. Yeah. So he sets up the content room.
I love that.
Yeah, but it's like that hard conversation, isn't it? When you go through it, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to do something new, and you're like, it's kind of a hard conversation. When you're like, yeah, I'm going to go and spend $5,000 on camera gear. Yeah. When we're about to have a baby and it's COVID, and I haven't really got a job.
I know, and it's hard because it's a big risk, and I do think that with your career, though, I've always been a big believer that, you know, I've always worked since I was like 15, and I've always loved my job. And the minute I stopped loving my job, I knew for me that was the time to
100%.
Pivot, move on, and I've always done that. And, you know, so many people stay in the same place for so long when they don't need to. And I think that's what I love about coaching, is that you can help people move from one place to another. But the children, and I think, you know, I know from speaking to lots of my clients that birth and death are such transformative experiences for us as humans, that they can they can kickstart something in us, which
100%.
I think is so exciting. You know, the loss of a loved one reminds us how fragile life is and how quickly it can be taken away. And equally, the arrival of a loved one is just like, wow, it's time to do something. This is a big life. This is exciting. And both me and my husband, we've always been similar. And it was about 5 years previous to me saying, I'm going to leave my job and be a life coach. He was working for, you know, local authority, had a decent job. And he was like, I want to take out a personal loan to do an MBA. And we were trying for a baby at the time. And I was like, oh, you know, I didn't have a lot of disposable income. And he was like, no, honestly, he was like, I can get into the private sector. I can triple my salary and just trust me. So we did. We took out a loan and I saw him study, work really hard, and he transformed his career. And that was really inspiring to me as well, to see him do that.
Definitely.
That made me think, yeah, people change. You don't have to stay stuck.
No, you don't. No, you don't. For anyone watching this, we're in a queue for Olivia Rodrigo tickets.
I don't normally have my phone next to me during a podcast recording and my credit card, but, you know, needs must.
No, we're quite flexible on this podcast. Anything goes, really. It is interesting, that, though, because... So, I had Harry at 34, and we weren't, like, gutted about it or anything, obviously, but we weren't planning it.
Right,
like, at
okay.
all.
Yeah.
So I remember sitting there and I was like setting up the online like video stuff, and I was literally sitting on the bed in COVID at like probably 10 o'clock in the morning. Becky comes in with a pregnancy test and I was like,
wow.
And I was on a call to a client. I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to call you back. And then I was just like, wow. So I immediately bombed it up to Asda, bought 2 more pregnancy tests. But after that point, like all jokes aside, after that point, you do, like, I don't know what it was like for you, but you definitely start going through like some like self-realization of, I'm not that young anymore.
Yeah.
Like all the stuff, all like the sort of like, you know, fly by the seat of my pants stuff I was doing in my 20s, I can't really do anymore. If I make any big mistakes in my life, then I can't get away with them as much as I could in my 20s, because I've got people relying on me now. You know, misses, kids, all that. And so I went down this like real rabbit hole around midlife crises and all that stuff. And I found out that the average man goes through a midlife crisis at like 37. Now, full disclaimer, I don't actually think I've been through a midlife crisis in any sort, but I definitely became more aware of my own mortality.
Yeah.
You start thinking, you start seeing your parents get aging a little bit, you start noticing that you're not that young anymore, you're outgrowing stuff, like you're not partying as much and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you can definitely go through this weird phase of like sort of, like, without sounding too woo, who am I? Like, where am I going?
100%.
Yeah.
There's an amazing quote by Brene Brown. I can't remember it specifically, but she says, you know, people call what happens in midlife a crisis, but it's more of an unraveling.
Yeah.
You know, it's like asking those questions of, actually, like, you know, who am I? If you are literally at your like halfway point, you've been having fun up until then, let's be honest. And then it's kind of like, yeah, I'm not going to be here forever. I want to make an impact. I want to experience things. And in order to do those things, I might have to make changes. Because, you know, I could get into this stuff forever. But there's the most incredible book by a palliative care nurse called The Regrets of the Dying.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of it, but she's called Bronnie Ware, the author. And she wrote this book because she spent so much time with people at the end of their life. So she started to notice a theme in the things that they regretted.
Wow.
So she started to write them down, and she wrote this book, The 5 Regrets of the Dying, and I won't be able to remember all 5, but one of them was definitely, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. But the number one regret was, I wish I'd lived the life true to myself.
Wow.
And not the life that others expected of me. And you know, I was consuming all these books around that time of my unraveling, and was just like, yes, like this is the time. And I don't regret, I'm sure you don't, you know, sitting in this amazing space that you've created and all of the businesses that you're helping with your videos, you know, being a coach is a privilege, and I get to do it every day, and I get to support the most incredible women, and they are incredible. They don't come to me because they're like broken. They're kind of just, they're on the cusp of brilliance, and they just need a little bit of support getting there. And that's what I love it. I love it so much. No regrets at all.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, resonating with it. Like, doesn't come without its like sleepless nights and its stresses and stuff. Definitely, like, to get to where we've got to here. But I'm glad I stuck at it.
Yeah, it's like everything in life, isn't it?
There's easier ways to make a living, definitely, but it's...
But the best things in life take time, don't they? Whether it's parenthood or relationships, you know, like a career or a calling that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Stuff that takes hard work is often the stuff that's the most rewarding.
Yeah. Yeah, so from there then,
Yeah.
you became Life Coach of the Year.
I did.
That's amazing. Congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
How does one go from being... Because we talk all the time about big ideas. That's like like kind of our whole shtick, right?
Yeah.
So when we talk about... Because, again, I bang on it. I talk about this on nearly every podcast, but it's like... Have you ever seen the film Jenny Maguire?
Yes.
So Jenny Maguire is one of my favourite ever films.
Okay.
And there's a scene in that film, there's obviously the famous scenes in the film, but like one of the scenes that really resonated with me was when he kind of gets really pissed off and disillusioned with this like sleazy sales tactics and the shit he like sort of trying to get one over each other.
Yeah.
And then he goes home one day and he's like, he kind of like hashes out this mission statement on his laptop.
Yeah.
Like stays up all night, writes this big essay, and then he goes in the next day and like makes this grand speech in front of everyone. And no one listens to him. Everyone just carries on as normal. Apart from like Rennie Zellweger, who's his like love interest in it.
Yeah.
And I had like a similar moment when we had our second one, Charles. And he was up one night keeping us up, and I kind of just cracked open a Google Doc, brain dumped everything into this Google Doc. I always call me Jenny Maguire moments because I spent like 3 or 4 days just brain dumping everything into this Google Doc. And then I actually made it into a lead magnet, actually, and then I've still got it saved. So I refer back at it all the time.
Yeah.
And just add stuff to it when I need to. But it was like... and what I realised was in that process was everything starts with a great idea. Or a big idea, we call it.
Yeah.
And then I was watching like a lot of things like Shark Tank and Dragon's Den, and people would go on and like pitch their ideas. And I was thinking like, why does some ideas, like Virago, like the concept, why does some things really like... people run with it and go with it, and then other things don't. And it was always like stupid things like, you know, I don't want to take the financial risk, or me husband's not really on board with it, or me wife's like telling me to like play it safe in the 9 to 5. It was always something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm fascinated with like big ideas. So for it to go from like that original idea to like Life Coach of the Year, what was that sort of like growth phase like for you?
Okay, so I think my big idea was to be a life coach for women like me, because at the time when I first launched Virago, coaching was starting to bubble up, you know, especially during the COVID years. But there was very much in my world, you know, as a woman who at the time had a 9 to 5, a mortgage and all of those things, there was these exec coaches that were often quite masculine in their approach. And that was for people who were really at the top of their organisation. The business was paying for the coaching. And then there was this other, like, these kind of ethereal, beautiful 20-year-olds that were barefoot in Bali talking about self-love. And there was kind of like, and they were talking about life coaching. And I was like, well, I'm just like in the middle, where I'm just like this woman with a mortgage, a couple of kids, a husband, you know, relationships. And actually, you know, at this point in my life, like a lot of women, you're at that stage where we are the generation that were told you can have it all. And we did, and we went out and we got university degrees and we got the jobs and we had the kids and we did have it all, but there wasn't really now you've got it all, how do you cope with that? So none of my friends were working with coaches. And I was like, why not? So Virago, which means strong, brave, courageous woman, was about tapping into that market.
Strong, brave, courageous woman.
That's what it means.
That is amazing.
It's Latin. Yeah. So Virago, it was like supporting that woman, supporting that market. And I'm really proud of, the audience that I built up in those first few years. I know mindset stuff was completely new to them. And I've gone on to create something through one-to-one coaching, group coaching, and also retreat days and events where it's normal for women like me to access mindset support. And that's, I think, what's helped me become Life Coach of the Year. And I think that's why I appeal to my clients, because they can see their self in me. And they're like, well, hopefully I make them feel comfortable and safe. And a lot of the things that they're experiencing, I have experience of as well. And we just create these amazing communities.
Is that on like a human level or a business level, or is it both, or is it a mix of everything? Or
it's very much a human level. So I could be supporting women who are going through breakups, divorce. They might want to have a career pivot, or they might have just had. It's quite common for women to reach out to me when they've just landed a new job, and they're kind of like, whoa, okay, like that imposter syndrome's creeping in, those things. It can be anything. It can be they're struggling with parenting, and I'm not an expert in any of those fields, but what I am an expert in is holding space for them and asking them the right questions for them to come to their own realizations and to guide them through the changes that they need to make or the self-belief they need to build in order for things to work, in order for life to feel happy and stress-free and all of those things. So, some of my clients do have their own businesses, but that's a small percentage. A lot of people, they've got 9 to 5s or...
I always say from like content marketing head on. Definitely when I was a PT, I didn't really do content when I was a PT, if I'm honest. It was just all word of mouth. Like,
it's so nice when you get to that place, though, isn't it?
If you look back at my PT days, I was like, there's hardly any like footprints of content or anything really out there, apart from a few photos here and there.
Okay.
But I always used to say to people, like, the people who coach you, people you can coach the best are former versions of yourself. So you like the former version of yourself from like maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Yes. Yeah.
Is your ideal client now?
Someone said that to me when I was starting up, and that made a lot of sense. But do you know what's happened with me, which is amazing, Steve, is that I am starting to attract women who are inspiring to me as clients, particularly the 50 plus market. So, women who are like, in their 50s, in their 60s, and they're reaching out to me because word of mouth, like you said, they've heard good things. And I'm sitting and I'm listening and I'm like, wow,
I think there's a big element of like...
so inspiring to me.
That's what I felt, without blowing smoke up your ass too much. Maybe I'm blowing smoke a little bit. When we were at the Business Boosters event, there was like definitely an element of when you were asking questions, when you were speaking, giving your contribution to the event, that was like, there was something in there which was like, quite inspiring.
Thank you.
So that was cool. And it's interesting that because I've like reminiscing about my PT days now. I used to train, believe it or not, women. It was basically premenopausal women, essentially. Yeah. And at the time, like, I was quite clued up. I wouldn't do it now. I've totally like lost me like all my research and stuff. But at the time, I was like probably like 30 maybe, and I was training like maybe 45, 46-year-old women. And then I would see these women, and you realise, like, when you're young, you think someone who's 25 is really old. And then when you get to 25, you look at someone who's 30 and you go, I'll have all my shit sorted when I'm 30. And then you get to 30 and you're like, well, I'll definitely have my shit sorted by 35.
Yeah.
and then as you go through your life, you're like, oh, they're not. But what you realise, what I realised was these women were like, maybe the kids had grown up and they wanted to start a business. Maybe they'd been through a divorce and they wanted to start again and start dating again.
Yeah.
And were young. They still had loads of time on the side and they could do all this big stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of them did actually go on to achieve loads of amazing things. And in the process of doing that, I started working with a woman. And I always give a bit of a counterintuitive view on this. And it's a bit of like a taboo subject. It's not even a taboo subject really, but what I realised was I was going to like these like women's, like, it was like just at that point in time, all these like women's events were like on the rise, women in business. And I'd always worked with women.
Yeah.
So I never really seen any like opportunity loss, is that the right word, for women, like in business and stuff?
Yeah.
Because I'd just always been in it. And I'd worked with amazing women, like pretty much the whole time. And then I had this client who was amazing. Like she ran this amazing business. And we went to an event and it was like a women's, like an event. And it was almost like, I don't want to sound harsh, but it was almost like a counselling session for them, and it wasn't like to me it wasn't like an empowering thing or anything. Like the business booster was like very empowering. That's like an amazing event where people contribute to it.
Me and Carmel are very aligned in
the values and all that kind of stuff, and that's amazing. And I was always like, I work with amazing women, and it's better than this. And I always had this like thing of like, I don't know, I just always had this thing of like, because I've never seen it personally, like in my own experience, I can't really comment on it for one, but at the same time, I know it's better than this.
Yeah, and you know what's hard, Steve, as well, is that, look, it's so easy as a woman to fall into that mindset of, I'm a victim, you know, like, you know, look at some of the statistics around the world of equality, and that doesn't help, you know. And I often say to my clients, you know, the least empowered place is when you're in victim mode. And we all fall into victim mode every now and then, but it's about recognizing it in yourself and going, okay, this isn't a good place. What can we do about it? How can we move forward? And that's what I love about coaching. It's people always say to me, well, what's the difference between like coaching and counselling or therapy? And I'm a massive advocate for therapy and counselling, by the way. I've had both. And with lots of my clients, if they've got deep-rooted trauma, you know, I'll always be like, look, this is an avenue that you should explore. However, the thing that appeals to me about coaching is it's about taking yourself from where you are in this present moment and how can you move forward. And yes, in order to do that, you need to understand what's happened in the past. It's, you know, you've got to have an awareness of that. But it's positive, and I'm an eternal optimist. I always have been, even through really difficult times in my life. I've always been like, right, well, okay, these are the cards you've been dealt, and you know, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to make it better? How are you going to work hard? And I think that if we can all unlock that in ourselves, especially as women collectively, the future is a lot brighter than when we stay in that, like you said, that room where it felt like a big counselling session, and there was. Now, look, don't get me wrong, every retreat day that I run, there's tissues and someone cries. But I don't see that as a negative thing. I see it as a positive because we're releasing emotion that we've not had the opportunity to release 100%. Up until that point.
There's definitely like a difference between vulnerability and victimhood. Yeah. Like, and that's like, to me, massive. And for someone who, like you say, like I was that person, you would not catch me opening up on a podcast and being vulnerable ever. Yeah. Like as a PT, it just wasn't a thing. Yeah. And now I'm just like kind of like an open book with everyone. Yeah. It's interesting what you say as well about fun. Because I just try and keep an element of fun in everything. Yeah. Because I've had like some shitty jobs in my time, like where I've been like literally, I look at my 5-year-old now, he goes to school, he has so much fun, goes to football, fun, goes to clubs, fun, swimming lessons, fun, everything's fun. Yeah. If he's not having fun, he's crying, essentially. You know, goes on his Nintendo for half an hour a day. Fun. And then he goes to high school, it's more basically, a bit more structured, but fun. Yeah. Fun. Then you come out of school, you might go to uni, fun. Or you don't, get a job, start your career, fun. And then all of a sudden you like end up in like your early mid-20s and you're like, oh, I've got bills to pay now. And like things start, I've got a bit more responsibility. Then you get into your 30s, like we were, and have kids. Oh, I've got kids now, I've got responsibility. And then there's this element that like gets lost, and it's like, it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
So I always just try and keep this element of fun as much as I can. But like I say, like I've never actually had, because I've worked with women like pretty much my whole life, I've never seen, well, I have seen it, obviously, but me personally, I've just worked with like amazing women the whole time.
Yeah.
So I just, from my perspective, there's been so much progress over my course of time, where women now are so empowered to go and do stuff and so supported to go and do stuff, that it's actually just like, if I start working with someone, whether it's a man, woman, black, white, gay, whatever, doesn't really matter to me, because it's almost like that platform. It's like, I don't know, like the women are so supported now, they're just so empowered to do it.
I think
so it doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah, I think what's inspiring for me is when people are in a minority, is when they empower themselves, they're creating their own progress. And I think having allies to be like, I see you, I see how hard you're working to create progress, because let's be honest, the world isn't working hard to create progress for people in a minority. Then I love that. And I'm like, how can I help you? You know, in the same way that you're an ally for women. It's like, how can we help other minorities to make better progress?
It's hard as well.
It's hard. Yeah.
It's hard work.
Yeah. And like, you're not the expert. So sometimes you have to be like, oh, look, even if I'm working with, you know, every woman that I work with has their own unique experience. It's my job as a coach to understand everyone's unique experience. Never in my life would I ever start a call and be like, oh, she's going for perimenopause. I know exactly what no, her experience of that is completely unique. And it's my job to listen and to get my head around that.
Yeah. So it's, you know, I'm glad we agree on that.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It is like, I look at someone like yourself, similar, great business, similar sort of journey to what I've been on. And I always think like, there's stuff that you've probably been through along the way that are really hard and testing, but you've came through it and built an amazing business. And I know what that feels like as a man, because I've fucking done it myself. And as you say, it comes with some hard decisions and some sleepless nights and stresses, and thinking, shit, we're going to be living on baked beans for the next fucking two months, because, you know, and it's hard work. And then you start to think you're getting a bit ahead of yourself, and then it comes along and kicks you in the bollocks again, and then it's like, you know, and it's the same thing. But I'm seeing more and more yourself, you know, Lauren, who we do some work with, Laura McNally, we do some work with, Amanda from Trinity. Like, these people are building unreal. Diane Thomas from DCT, all these people, Kate from Lola Star, are building amazing platforms. And that's just great. Like, it's just great for like the whole business community, especially in Liverpool.
Yeah.
Seeing it on the Wirral more and more now. And I feel like that gap is starting to be bridged a little bit more. I don't know what you feel.
Yeah. And as to, you know, I think that it's no surprise to me that women are starting businesses for themselves, because the current working world doesn't really work for a lot of women. You know, a big change in my circumstance, as you said, you know, with yourself, was like becoming a parent, and I noticed for the first couple of years that I was almost creating this, like when I was in my 9 to 5, I was creating this reality for myself where I drop, you know, my daughter off at nursery at 7 a.m. I'd pick her up at 6 p.m. When she started school, it was a very similar process. And that was through necessity. And this is, you know, everybody's got different necessities and different careers. And for some people that is right. And for me, it wasn't feeling right. And what I was starting to notice that I was determined to do was to create these kind of like strong, independent girls, to bring them up. But I was actually missing out on just like being a present mum. And I was doing that through protection for myself. Having lost my own mum, I felt like I wanted to almost, at the start of their life, I felt like it was my job to make them so independent that they could live without me. And actually through my own self-discovery journey, I was like, that is so sad, because this time of like parenthood and this joy of experiencing these young girls, well, they were babies, but they're going to become young girls, young women, to not be around for them, you know, through just to make it easier for them when I'm gone feels like such a waste,
yeah,
you know.
it's wasting the time now.
And this is going against some of the stuff that, you know, is being said on podcasts at the moment. And like, women should have a choice to how they want to work. But for me, I was like, at the time, in order to work flexibly and to be a present mother, my choice was to start my own business. And that's been an unexpected joy along the way. I'm not saying it's easy, you know, it's gone from being a long working day to basically, I feel like I'm always on at some point, but to be able to like pick them up at school or take them to the places that they need to be, and to just witness them more than I would have had I have been in my previous career.
Do you feel like that's giving you the sense of purpose, and is that like, maybe counterintuitively helped you in the business more?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, the word purpose, isn't it? Because how we define purpose is so unique to the individual. But I do believe that my purpose is to listen, support, and encourage people. Obviously, I'm currently doing that through being a coach at the moment, but I also get to do that as a mum. And I definitely was that, as I said, I was that 9 to 5 woman that was kind of like, I don't know, I used to like put my heels on in the morning, and I kind of felt like, you know, like motherhood's not going to change me. and it did. And I accepted it. And I just was like, God, yeah, this has like opened me up in ways that I didn't imagine and didn't expect. And it's a privilege. I'm not their coach, I'm their mum. It's a very different role, but it's a privilege to be able to honour my purpose in multiple ways. You know, they're not going to be kids for age, they'll be adults one day.
Yeah, 100%.
I think it's very important that we don't lose ourselves in motherhood, but it's important to be able to enjoy it at the time. 100%. When I was not down for that, I was like, it's not going to change.
Everyone says to me all the time, like, you know, you'll miss it when it's gone. Like, our 1-year-old, he still doesn't sleep through. He got those sleepless nights and all that.
Oh, no.
And everyone's like, oh, you'll miss it when it's gone. And like, oh, yeah, I know. I'm fully aware. I will.
But isn't it amazing that life, we get to enjoy all these different pockets and moments of our life?
People say to me all the time, Stay, you're smashing it. You're doing so well in business. Like, your content really looks amazing. You know, I see the content you've done for this person or this person, but it's amazing. And I'm like, thanks. I really, really appreciate it. And I work really, really hard at it.
Yeah.
But my life is like absolute behind the scenes. My life is like, you know, I'm not willing to not be the dad at home.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm fully aware this business has got potential to make, you know, a lot of money. It can be very, very successful. And I'm always battling with that sort of to and from balance. Of like, I want to make it a success, but how badly do I want success that I don't want to miss a bike ride with my kids, or you know, or or I don't want to miss a bedtime or miss a football game, like something like that. Yeah. And it's just something I'm constantly battling with. Of like, what is my definition of success at the moment?
Yeah. Oh, and thank God you are, because most people live their life through someone else's version of what success is. Yeah. And the fact that you're questioning it and you call it a battle, but actually, you know, try to think of it more as a dance than a battle, because it's that dance through life of, I get to choose right now what matters most. And sometimes you pick work before the kids because you have to, and it's a big opportunity. And sometimes the kids come first, and that dance in life is part of the magic. And sometimes we take the wrong step and we do the wrong thing 100%. And we learn as we go, don't we? But
Nicola Graham said this on the podcast a few months back, of like, you have your seasons in life. I think she's in her early 40s now. Yeah. She's a few years older than me, but she's fit as a fiddle. She's an online coach. She lives by it. She absolutely walks the walk. Yeah. She's amazing. I love Nick. you should probably do some podcasting together because you two will complement each other really well. And she was like, you just got to embrace the season of life that you're in.
Seasons. And also, you know, you get one life. And I love to actually sometimes look back at my previous seasons in life and like honour that younger version of myself.
Do you ever look back and cringe? Because I do. I look back and
go, what the hell was I doing? Oh my goodness, there's so many things I wouldn't do and all of those things, and so many things I wish I had done and, you know, and all of that stuff. But looking back and befriending that younger version of you, and I think that's so important, whether it's around self-acceptance, self-forgiveness, self-love, like not to be cheesy, but, you know, I've had to forgive myself for, you know, things I've done in the past that I wouldn't do now because I didn't know then what I know now. And 100% those seasons of life are what make it special. And being present in the season that you're in now, looking forward to and being excited about the season that's to come, but like acknowledging, celebrating the seasons that have already come and gone as well.
From the moment I wake up in the morning, literally getting tapped on the head by my 1-year-old, to the moment I go to bed, my life is every minute's taken. Every minute is hectic, chaos. Yeah. And sometimes I'm like, I just want an hour to myself where I just sit, maybe in a sauna somewhere or go in a pool. But I wouldn't swap it. I would not swap it. And it's funny, you know, like, I remember when I left school at 16, I basically didn't really know what I wanted to do. This was way before I was a PC. I was actually an architect, a trainee architect.
Oh, wow.
Believe it or not.
You've lived many lives.
Lived many lives, yeah, absolutely. And in the 2008 recession.
That's when we bought our first house.
Yeah. How old are you now?
2007, I'm 44.
Ah, yeah. So, similar generation to me.
Yeah.
And...
Just checking on the tickets.
The Olivia Rodrigo tickets are coming in hot, to be fair. And in the 2008 recession, I remember sitting in our office, bored out of my mind. No purpose. It's not what I wanted to do. But to everyone else, it was like, my mum and dad were very proud because I was an architect.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, very, very proud.
Mum and dads love the titles.
Yeah. It's like the safe 9 to 5.
Yeah.
You know,
pension.
You know, I was above average pay for my age, 20, 21-year-old. And I remember sitting there going, this is just shit. This is just crap.
Yeah.
And in 2008, I was made redundant, and I realised at that point, the safe 9 to 5 wasn't that safe. And that's what kind of what kind of like lit the fire under me to go and do something by myself.
Yeah.
But I remember like the odd time people would say like you're being lazy or you're this and that, and I was always a bit frustrated when people would say stuff like that because I was never a lazy person ever.
Yeah.
Like I never was, but in that setting I was.
Yeah, because you weren't motivated.
I wasn't. Like, it wasn't getting me up in the morning. I didn't really want to go there.
Absolutely.
I was counting down the hours.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't like a fully qualified architect, so I wasn't doing the big bulky work.
Yeah.
It was just like helping out really.
Yeah. People kind of call it like being in alignment, which sounds a little very
it's purpose, isn't
like woo, isn't it? But it's just like being in a place or being with a person that is aligned with your values. And when you find yourself in that sweet spot, that's when the excitement kicks in. That's when the passion, you're not bored anymore because you're in the right place.
Yeah.
And so many of the women that reach out to me do so because they know they're not in the right place, but they don't know what the right place is. So self-discovery is about, you need to understand yourself first in order to make the necessary changes.
100%.
Because people are like, I know I want something different, but I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
So a lot of my courses are built around taking you on a journey so that you can, you know, realign with your values. You can understand the beliefs that you hold about yourself. You know, you can work out your personal wants and needs and all of the things that are important to you, so that it is one thing to feel stuck and not happy, but the other thing is, how do you go from that place to actually making a change or surrounding yourself with people that are more aligned with your values? And it takes bravery, you know, back then for you to walk away from something that, like you say, your parents are proud of. And I remember telling my dad that I was walking away from my previous career, and I don't think his face moved for about 10 minutes. He literally looked like I'd just told him that, you know, I'd had a devastating diagnosis. I was like, this is okay. This is good. This is going to be a good thing. But then at that point, it didn't matter to me how anybody looked, you know. And like one of my best friends, I remember like saying to me, oh, I'm really not sure about this. And now she's one of like my biggest supporters at Virago. And, you know, you have to make decisions based on what you want and what you know to be true about yourself. And once you do, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, as you found out.
I love it. I remember training this guy, Peter, when I was a PT, multi-millionaire, ran a massive company. We had like 400 staff at one point. Anything. He got to his sort of early 60s and he took a step back in the company. His son Ben was running it, who's probably in his mid to late 40s now. Still going. He bought Burton Manor, massive fucking country building, big listed building. And he stepped into doing some career coaching. I said to him one day, Peter, I'm not going to stop training you. I'm not going to stop coaching you, but I am coming to a bit of a crossroads in my mind where I need to like do something a bit different with my career and take it to the next level. And he was like, yeah, natural, come and do some career coaching with me. And so I went. And I remember he said to me, he said, lost my train of thought. Come to me now. So I went there and he was like, look, the barrier to entry of doing anything new is being a bit shit at the start.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like if you don't know how to play football, I take my 5-year-olds football.
Yeah.
It's like bees around a honeypot. Honestly, there's just kids running around chasing the ball around. It's not really a football game, but over time, they're not judging themselves.
Yeah.
They'll get more structure in the games.
Yeah.
They'll start learning the skills. And then over time they'll get better and they'll figure it out. But they're not judging themselves.
Yeah.
And as adults, you start this new thing. And all of a sudden, it's like, you're judging yourself, and you're judging yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like...
And especially if you do something online and everyone's looking at you.
And people aren't willing to look a bit shit at the start.
They're not.
And it's like, I remember, like, if you go on my Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Scroll right the way back.
Yeah.
Like 6 years to the very start. Look at the videos then compared to now. It's like night and day. And Peter said, he's like, I don't believe in imposter syndrome. And I was like, what do you mean by that? But imposter syndrome was like in the dictionary and everything. And he was like, it's just a skill gap. It's like you just got to acquire the skill, the certain level of skill, and then you won't feel that imposter syndrome anymore. Yeah. And he always just drilled it into me. It's a skill gap. It's a skill gap. So just get better at what you do. Just practice to the point where you're not feeling that anymore. Yeah. And I was like, wow, that's quite powerful. So anyway, I went down this like massive rabbit hole. And there's this thing called a hierarchy. So humans have these 5 major human fears. Yeah. They're like innate within us. So there's like the whole fight, flight, freeze thing. So if, say you're walking down the road and a vicious dog starts growling, biting at you, you just get scared. You're like, oh, like, so there's a fear of like not being like, I think it's mutilation or you're not getting ripped apart by a dog or a lion or something. And then I can't really place with the other 2, but there's 2 that always stuck out to me. One is fear of judgment. Yeah. So exposing yourself in front of, not physically, but exposing yourself in front of other people, especially in a public arena. Yeah. Putting yourself online, putting certain opinions out there that people might not agree with. And that's something that I've definitely became more comfortable with over the last 6 years. I was definitely like more of an agreeable person back then than what I am now. And then the other one which I found interesting was not living up to your own expectations. Oh, yeah. So you're looking at other people online, in your case a life coach. You might look at this life coach like Brené Brown and be like, well, my stuff's not as good as hers. Yeah. So I'm not going to do it because if I can't be as good as her, then what's the point? Yeah. And it's like, well, you haven't seen the hours and hours and hours and tedious, learnings and mistakes she's made over time to get to that level. Exactly. Yeah. And then once you sort of get into it, you realise that the level of like, and the analogy I always use is like a tree. It's like you see this beautiful tree, hundreds of years old or whatever, very strong in the ground. And that the more beautiful and strong and structured that tree is, the deeper the roots. Yeah, absolutely. The deeper the roots. The more shallow the roots are, the more easily you can chop it down. Absolutely. But people don't see the roots. No, and people don't work on the roots. Like, like all that stuff that you're talking about is like, get your strong roots in place. So when I launched Virago, obviously that fear of judgment
it all existed, but my roots were so strong because I'd done this work. You know, I'd worked on my mindset. I knew what I wanted. I didn't care if someone I used to work with rolled their eyes at my video online. Who cares? Because I have got self-belief. I care about this. I know I can make a difference. I know I can make an impact. And it was moving beyond that fear of judgment. And I guess living up to my own expectations in a place of knowing what my expectations were. I think my expectations through life are to be happy. And I was in a place where I was no longer happy, and I needed to move myself, as I'd done throughout my whole career, always sidestepping, always changing, always, you know, what's going to make me happy, and allowing myself enabling to do that. And suddenly that fear of judgment like goes away, because I'm just like, but I'm doing it. Like, you might think it's shit, but I'm doing it, and I'm getting paid. And you know what, Steve, I had a full circle moment, oh God, recently. So I walked away from like a fairly good salary when I was like, you know, a senior position. And I used to get like a good bonus every year, and I'd work my way up, you know, and all of that. And then when I started out as a coach, I was just chatting to this friend at a wedding, and she worked at a primary school, and she went, that sounds amazing. Our teachers need that. And I was like, yeah. And she went, I'll have a word with the head. Anyway, so I did this like online session for them during COVID, and it was like a 45-minute session, and they sent me a check in the post, and it was for 80 quid, right? And I've still got that check. I've got that check at home. Well, oh God, if you work with schools.
Do you even cash checks anymore?
You can take a picture on your app and it cashes it. So yeah, I've still got that 80 quid check like on my vision board at home.
Wow.
And that 80 quid, like, because it was money that was like, it was just my skill set and my knowledge and me being me. And it was the first money I'd ever earned working for myself. And it's on my vision board. And last week I was doing a mindset day for head teachers. It's like 13 head teachers in the room. We're in this like beautiful hotel and spa. It was all gorgeous, and you know, and I'm there. And this woman walks in and she was like, "Hi, Angela, it's nice to see you again." And she was the head teacher from that school that paid me 80 quid back in 2020.
Oh my goodness.
And I was just like, oh my God, you know, thank God I'm charging a lot more than 80 quid now. But I was like, it was so nice. Wow. It was so nice to have that full circle moment, and for me to realize I did it. I actually bloody did it. Like I put myself out there. I worked hard, you know, and I don't want to make it all about me, because Virago is so much about the women who've been through it and the transformations they've had and the reviews they leave. And, you know, it's become bigger than me. But the fact that I'd actually was still stood there and I was still doing what I love and getting paid to do it.
Yeah.
It's just the best ever.
It's amazing, isn't it?
I love it.
I love it.
I do.
Well done.
Thank you.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And that's impact in its purest form.
I'm driven by impact, definitely. Yeah. I wish I was driven more by money, because I'd probably be a lot richer. But I'm driven by impact. And
I always think with impact, though, just as a caveat to that, I always think the more impact that you make, the more money you will make as a byproduct.
Yeah, it's
and
true.
Vice versa. Yeah.
You know, like reviews are a great one. You know, you talk about content, and a massive turning point for me was I didn't start until about 2 years ago getting reviews from clients. I've now got over 100 5-star reviews across Google and Trustpilot.
Amazing.
And that's content that like you can't pay for, you know, and no one
100%.
fakes a review.
100%.
Like I still have those moments of, oh, I'm not quite sure if this is going to be a 5-star review client, you know, like, and then we'll get to like week 4 or week 5 and something will happen. I'll be like, oh, it's clicking. She's having a light bulb moment. It's working. Like, trust the process, trust the coaching. Yeah. And then, you know, she'll be like, oh, I've left you a review. And I'll be like, oh, God. And I'm like, oh, you know. And so impact for me is those real life stories, those real life changes that have happened.
So good.
And it's enabled me to go on and do so much
We live in
more.
this like age of like social media trends and algorithms and, you know, making stuff that's going to feed and drive attention and all that stuff. And I say to the businesses we work with now, it's like, you've still got to shout about your case studies. You know, if I, let's say, hypothetical, let's say we work together and and I've done a really good job, or you've done a really good job for me. If I sat there on a video, I'd be like, Angela is amazing. Like, we've done some really good coaching, and I got some great results. It's not like, it's great that I'm saying that, and it's true. I would say that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, well, anyone could say that. You've kind of just, I've just asked you to answer a few questions for me.
Yeah.
Whereas it's like an actual like review and case study where it's like, right, we started at this point in COVID. We had this big idea. We're now at this point. It's probably not like our end goal, but over the course of time, we've done this, and this, overcome this obstacle.
Yeah.
We've overcome these things. We had some success here and there, so we built on these things. That is a powerful journey.
It is.
And I always feel with our clients, and we're putting an emphasis on this at the moment, people don't tell them stories enough. People don't share them insights enough.
That's interesting.
So I could say stuff like we're on a podcast now.
Yeah.
I could say, do you know what? I've done a really good podcast with Angela. Like, it's out now.
Yeah.
Go and watch it.
Yeah.
People may or may not go and watch it.
Yeah.
But I could do a piece of content now where it's like, do you know what? I've just had Angela on the podcast. She gave me some insight there around a coaching thing that really just stuck in my mind. And because I'm turning 40 this year, it's really put the seed in my mind where my big ideas now are a bit more clarified and this and that. That's just some of that insight.
It brings it to life.
It brings like that lesson, and that insight is like so powerful.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do it with clients at the moment.
But it's interesting in the content world, isn't it? Because
But that doesn't drive the most views.
No.
And that's where people get a bit conflicted, I think.
Yeah. And I never create content for views. It's easy to get pulled in, isn't it? And be like, ooh, but
100%.
like one of my biggest drivers is connection and creating spaces where people can connect, but me connecting with an audience. And sometimes I'll be like doing a video and Instagram will be like, oh, your video is longer than 3 minutes, we're not going to recommend it. And I'm like, I don't care, like, because I need more than 3 minutes to tell the story. And only 20 women watch that video, but those 20 women have watched that full video, and one of them may come on to be a client. So
100%.
I think the type of business you run matters, doesn't it? Because when I'm in the sort of client world as opposed to product world, I think when you've got a product-based business, you want volume and you want all of those, but I want connection. That's so important.
One of my pet peeves on social media is when you'll see these creators, a lot of females actually, to be honest, what they'll do is they'll basically feed the algorithm with like the shortest piece of content, literally like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why they do that. I understand why they do it.
Yeah.
And I always say to people, like, don't do that. Because how can you take something that's such like a complex topic, such a nuanced topic, like life coaching or like something quite deep and meaningful to someone that can drive a massive impact? And Nicola Graham actually said this on the podcast, how can you take that subject matter and condense it into 20 seconds? You can't.
And that's when it comes to like, what do you want to be? Because if you want to be an influencer, that's cool, that's brilliant. You want to create that short content that's going to get the views and all of those things. But I'm not in the market of being an influencer, and I never want to be one, so I'd be rubbish. But so I've got to drive connection. I don't always get it right with my content. I'm far from an expert.
I don't know. I think you've got a bit of influence there.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, 100%.
I hope that I influence women
put it in context, right? Why are you on this podcast now? Because you contributed on that day when I seen you, and something clicked in my mind where I was like, I've got to become a bit closer to Angela because she's someone I want to speak to.
So do you know what's brilliant, Steve, is I actually use that example with my group coaching clients. So I do multiple courses, but one of the courses that I do is called Rise Up, and it's for women that want to progress in business or career. I do that once a year, do it in September. You can do it as a one-to-one anytime, but I do it as a group in September. And I was doing Rise Up, and it was around the time of this event that you're talking about. And I was talking about how when you are in a room, it's important that if you want to be seen in that room, that you make yourself seen. I had an opportunity in that room to ask a question. And I'm not saying you ask a question for question's sake, But when you ask a question, everyone in that room turns and looks at you, and you don't know if they're going to be a potential client or a potential collaborator. And I actually used that example of that event. So that's really interesting that you were then, you did have impact, or you had influence because you asked those questions.
100%.
What then I found was Carmel, who was running the event and who was incredible, she then started to, like, when she was thinking of an example, she was picking me out as the example. And it was really nice because I wasn't even a speaker at that event, but I ended up with lots of connections on the back of it because from an influence perspective, she was picking me out. But I just want to influence women to remember the importance of putting themselves first, giving themselves time, allowing, not just women, anyone, you know, allowing yourself time to reflect on your life and think, is this the best it can be right now? Because let's not forget, we can't just like manifest our way to being like in our perfect scenario. It's about taking those baby steps towards
100%.
It could be better. This conversation could be better. This relationship could be better. This business idea could be better. And just working away at making it better. And if we're always making things better, we're always going to feel better. We're going to be proud of ourselves. We're building self-worth, all of that good stuff that just makes it get even better.
I love it. That genuinely, like, blow my mind. In terms of like content, just the man. Did you watch that Monastery documentary by any chance?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
I find, it's a hard watch. It's a hard watch. I think that like Louis did it really well in that, you know, in his natural sense, he showed that what these young people are consuming isn't the reality of what those influencers, you know, are doing in the background. I thought that was really clever the way he did that. But my fear is that appeals to me as a market, but it's not really appealing to those younger people. But the awareness of it, I thought it was great. I agree. I completely agree. It was scary.
Yeah,
and we talk about fear. I've got 2 girls. I'm really scared of this stuff, but I also know that there is like brilliant masculinity that exists within the world. And, you know, my husband, his friends, like, you're a nice guy, you know, like there's so many positive male influences out there.
Yeah, you try to be. When you build up a bit of an audience, like we have now, like a bit more, obviously not, I wouldn't say celebrities or anything, but a bit more known for what we do now. It's kind of one of them where, like, I am very aware of that double-edged sword of, like, I'm making, because there's a really cool saying by someone, I can't even think of what his name is. It's like the answer to bad ideas is better ideas.
Yeah.
And I always think like the answer to bad content is better content.
It is.
I'm trying to like put stuff out there that's like positive, and, you know, it might not drive, you know, hundreds of thousands of views like fucking HS TikTok or whatever.
Because it's the extreme content that gets the big views, isn't it? And it's when you don't sell your soul to just create extreme content.
I've got faith, you know, because I feel like it's like people are realising it's all bull. It's all a load of shite, basically.
Oh my God. Even people more so now with the world of AI, because I've got quite a good bullshit radar, and I just literally scroll through content now and I'm like, this is all made up shit. Like, where's the human? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, where's the human 100%. In the content? And the thing that makes me pause now on social media is when I know something is not created by AI. Exactly. And I'm talking about like the captions as well. Yeah. I'm like,
if you scroll through LinkedIn, right? If the caption starts with something like "explore the world of Virago Coaching" or discover the life of the content room, or the thing is about content.
Let me tell you something about this.
And then it's got all the emojis and stuff, and then the big dashes and stuff. Straight away, it's almost like, I don't trust you. Like, not as a person, you're probably a really good person. Yeah. And you probably go like thinking, looking at it, going, this looks way better than what I could do. Yeah. And you're copying and pasting it. But straight away, I would rather see someone fuck up a load of content, make a load of mistakes, and just put it out there, and just give us your authentic, raw self, and make the mistakes in front of us. And I would like that content way more than this polished
You will,
ideal.
and that's what I think that's the change that's happening. So when AI came out, we all used it. We all went, oh, let's have a go with this, and then it's become so obviously used now on lots of different platforms that it's nothing standing out anymore. And I'm exactly the same. I just feel like authenticity is one of my values.
So impact, connection, authenticity.
Yeah, I like
love it.
creativity, but
Creativity, I love
so
it.
authenticity really matters to me. And talking about content, I'm dyslexic, so I do make mistakes and I don't see them, in like my copy. So if I've got time, sometimes I will say to AI, check this for spelling and grammar, but don't change anything, But a lot of time I don't have time, so I just put stuff out and then I'll look back and go,
Do you think anyone actually notices
I've
that?
spelled that wrong. Or
Do you think anyone actually notices that? Or
sometimes there'll be so for some people, like grammar and spelling is really important, and they hate me, and they probably don't follow me for that reason. But for me, I'm just like, I got it out. I don't need it to be perfect. I got it out. And
That's so good.
sometimes I've had honestly get inboxes of people saying, oh, do you know that on your recent reel you've made a spelling mistake? And I'm just like, are you messing? Oh God, get a life.
Do you know what? I genuinely I resonate with that as well, because I always say aim for like an 8.5 or 9 out of 10, because I don't believe in perfection.
Yeah.
Just don't believe it's the thing. It's an ideal.
Yeah.
It's an ideal that you would like to, but it's almost like dangling a carrot in front of a rabbit and letting it chase it around, but never giving it the carrot. Because no matter what you do, no matter what level you get to, it's like new levels, new devils. Like, I thought when I get to this concert room, I spend all this money, like people just come. People just come and love doing
They'll
it.
be lining up outside.
I'll have a waiting list for months. I'll make loads of money and then it doesn't.
How long were you saying, are you going to come on this podcast? And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Do you know what though? Like, I've got to the point now where if, the 25-year-old version of me was a bit more impatient and a bit more of an ego about me, where I was like, I would have been like, I used to be like, get a bit needy actually and be like, just come on, fucking go, just get a date in. But actually now I'm just like, I'm more understanding of, and I'm probably a bit more empathetic to the people's situations, but it's like, actually, I've got, we're booked up for the next month on the podcast, so it's amazing. That's good.
Yeah.
But it's one of them where I'm like, I understand people have fucking shit going on.
Oh my God, this was such a big thing for me in business that I had to learn as a coach. So being self-aware.
Don't take everything so personally.
Oh, yes, that is it. Because, oh my God. So I've got you get to know yourself, don't you? Different wounds. And I've got like a rejection wound. I find it really hard when people at first in business, when people rejected me, and it could be that we'd have a connection call and then they'd decide to not go ahead with the coaching, and I would overthink, and why was it? What did I do wrong? What could I have done better? And then you reach a point where you're like, oh my God, it's actually got nothing to do with me. And you know what the turning point for me was with this one? So God, this is actually really embarrassing. But I had this client and she was really keen on doing this course. So we were back and forth, and then she just disappeared off the face of the earth. And again, it was back before, I hadn't quite worked through my rejection wound. And I was like, oh my God, why didn't she just say she doesn't want to do it anymore, and blah, 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 and you build it all up. And then anyway, it was about 8 months later, she came back and she was like, right, I'm ready to do this course now. I was like, oh, fantastic. She went, yeah, I'm so sorry. I've been having brain surgery and recovering. And I was just like, that is so embarrassing that I made that scenario about me and my business when that woman was going through such a huge monumental thing in her life. And that was the turning point for me, where if someone doesn't reply to a message, don't care. If someone unsubscribes from my mailing list, don't care. If someone unfollows me on Instagram,
I don't even check it anymore.
No,
someone unsubscribes, I don't care.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, okay, goodbye. They don't want my services anymore. It's
James
okay.
James Smith, PT. He's not even a PT anymore, but James Smith says that he's always
okay.
He's always like, you're in a constant to and fro of disqualifying and qualifying people. So what you'll end up, if people unfollow you, some people go, oh, why you unfollowed me? It's like,
Yeah.
well, actually, what you've done is you've disqualified a load of people, but what you end up with is a load of people who qualified, who love what you do and love your message.
Yeah.
And
People are just busy. And, you
Yeah.
know, like we were messaging about this podcast, and I think it was like March was International Women's Day. I was like, I cannot fit a podcast in. It's too much. And then, you know, I knew I wanted to do this, but it was about like just making sure that the timing was right. And, that is huge for coaching, by the way. The timing
but look
has
at the
got to be right.
look at the conversation we've had now.
It's been so nice.
It's such an open, like, you know, and I appreciate you for it as well,
Yeah.
because it's a candid, open conversation. We've talked loads of stuff, but maybe if we'd have just jammed it in for the sake of it, we wouldn't have had that.
Oh, if you'd have met me in March when I was doing all those International Women's Day events, I would have had nothing to say. The irony of being an empowerment coach for women.
Do you know what? It's funny though. Like it's just give yourself a little bit of like a break on that though. I think because it's almost like with the people who you get in front of you, and even when they say no, you're like, this would be so. You know, in your mind, I could help you so much if you do this. I would. It would be life changing for you.
And the amount of women, they're like, oh my God, I really want my friend to work with you, or oh my God, I really want my sister to work with you. And it's like, they've got to want it themselves, and the time's got to be right.
And if they don't, they won't have the success.
They won't. No, I know. You know, they won't.
And then, but that's a tricky. It's a hard. Is it square to circle, circle square, whatever. It's one of them where like you don't need that, because they'll walk away from it going, well, the coaching didn't work for me.
Yeah.
And it's actually like the coaching would work for you. And I used to have that all the time. It's like people who didn't get great results. I'd be like, if you just do what I say. In my mind, it's like, if you just done exactly what I say, you would get great results. And it used to really frustrate the hell out of me. But it's never that, is it?
It's so different as well with, like, you know, the type of coaching that a PT does, because it's like giving information, isn't it? Whereas my coaching's about unlocking what's already within them. Yeah. So it's funny what you've just said, because one of my recent one-to-one clients, she read all my reviews and she was like, I'm going to go for it. And I was like, that's great. And she was like, I really hope this works for me. And I just remember saying to her, just think about just that phrase, I hope it works for me. I was like, this isn't like a magic pill that you're going to take. This is you choosing to understand yourself better, so that you, not the course, not me as a coach, you can make better decisions for yourself moving forward. Yeah. And she was like, oh, okay. And I was like, do you still want to do it? And she was like, yeah, but now it feels like it's a lot of hard work on my point. Like, but you know what? She just completed her course with me, and the amount of actions that woman's taken and the difference it's making to her life, because she's having difficult conversations, she's pivoting in certain areas of her life, she's having open conversations with the people close to her. Like, it was unbelievable. And I said, it's not about it working for you, it's about you taking the tools and learning to make them work.
I love it. I love it so much. Thank you so much for being so candid and having a good conversation with us. I really appreciate you. Finish with a bit of a double-barreled question, actually.
Okay.
So what's the big idea going forward for Virago and Angela Spencer? And if me and you were sitting in this room, or maybe another content room, in a year's time doing another podcast, what would you like to be telling me?
Oh, okay, yeah. So, you know what I love about Virago is that it just keeps going, it keeps building, and I keep putting the effort in. But 18 months ago, I actually started on the side a community interest company with two other amazing women, Lauren and Amy, who I work with. And our mission is to support and empower women and girls with their mental, physical and emotional health. So Lauren's a PT, she's pre-postnatal instructor, and Amy is a Reiki master, mindfulness teacher, all of those great things. So we are basically building Trinity up. It's had an amazing first 18 months. And through that, we've had the opportunity to start to work with teenagers and go into schools. So I guess my big idea as Angela Spencer and as a coach is, rather than just catching women when they are in that unraveling phase, is teaching teenage girls these tools at a young age, because how powerful would that be?
So they don't fall into the sort of
so that
traps
so that they can build their life from that place of knowing their worth and believing in themselves and knowing that it's okay to make mistakes and understanding how their beliefs can hold them back, but also how their beliefs can propel them forward. So I'm working more and more with teenagers, and that's the big idea that's sparking something in me at the moment, where I'm like, I want to grow that. I want to see where that takes me, and I see that as a great opportunity, and I'm excited about that.
I love it.
Yeah, like the Viragos already. You know, my youngest client was 14, and my eldest client is like early 70s. So I feel like the Virago is already, but mini Viragos in
Mini
schools
Viragos, I love it.
is something I'm excited about.
That's a cool concept. Imagine a load of mini Viragos running around.
Oh my God, well, there's already a few, so be aware.
I love it. I love it. If anyone has sort of watched the clips of this podcast or the full podcast or consumed anything that they feel they've seen themselves in or want to take the next steps, what are the best places they can find yourself and how do they get involved with your coaching?
Of course. So I'm sure you'll put this all in the show notes,
Sure.
but I am most prolific on Instagram. So I'm Virago, which is VIRAGO _wellness _coaching at Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn just as Angela Spencer, and my website and everything is linked on there. So I would say reach out to me on Instagram, and the best place to start is to just have a connection call. So I'm not salesy. I'll just have a call with you. We'll have a chat. You can talk about why you think you might need coaching. I can talk to you whether I think coaching is appropriate, how I can help you. And then if you want to move forwards, if you want to come on a course or on a retreat day even, my retreat days are a real mix of women who've done lots of work with me before, women who are brand new to this stuff. And that makes for such good conversation, because there's a mix of self-awareness in the room, and it can be very inspiring for some people and very comforting and all of those things. So just come and get involved with one of the events, one of the retreat days, pop a connection call in, let's have a chat, and just come and join the fun.
She don't HS TikTok, but she's got a lot of influence. I love the content that she puts out on it. I'm joking. I'm joking. Thanks so much for your time.
Oh, thanks.
I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you coming on. And I'm glad that it's took a bit of time to get you on, because I feel like it's flooded into a great conversation. Yeah. This podcast will be out, I think, probably Friday.
Oh, wow.
I'll turn it around. Obviously, I'll show you beforehand. But thanks so much. I really appreciate your time. We are done.
Yay!
This is the first podcast we've done, but it definitely won't be the last.
Oh, I hope not.
I hope not. I feel quite inspired after that, to be fair.
Good.
It's been...
Going to change your life again?
Yeah. Do you actually do any work with men?
Sorry?
Have you actually done any work with men?
If I do... any corporate work, or like I mentioned about like working with head teachers, then naturally you're working with everyone that works within the organisation. And I recently did have a call with a man. Yeah, my first ever one-to-one session with a man. And it was, I got off it and I was quite nervous, because I was like, am I going to be able to do it? And I was like, oh my God, we're just the same. Like we are literally just, it was the same stuff that came up.
Yeah.
So, who knows? Maybe that's my next big idea.
Do you know what? Like,
bring on the Virago men.
Talking about being a bit vulnerable. One thing that like really cropped up for me when we had our second one, and one of our really good friends is she's like a board member at Koala. Do you know, they help like parents who struggle to connect with kids.
Oh yeah,
their own kids.
Yeah.
And I had this like really sort of this thought in my mind when we had our second that I really didn't want Harry, our first one, to be feeling neglected or left out, because all the attention obviously goes on the baby. So I made a really like concerted effort to like make sure that he never felt like that. Like I like went all in.
Yeah.
But as a result of that, I felt like I was almost like when we had Harry, it was like an instant like connection.
Yeah.
When we had Charles, like obviously I wouldn't swap him, I love him to bits, but it was almost like it took a bit longer to get
It's
that
different.
like instant connection.
Yeah.
Because of this, like almost like not a I wouldn't call it a paranoia, but like this thought that I had where like Harry was going to feel neglected.
Yeah.
And then Steph brought it up, and I was like, "That's a thing. It's an actual thing that people like battle with."
Yeah.
So that was one thing where that was like a blind spot for me, because I was like, "Oh yeah, it's just more of the same."
Yeah.
And then when it happened, I was like, "Oh shit!" Like the connections, like it wasn't the same. Obviously now he's 1.5 and he's like, he wouldn't swap at all. But
having that realization and then knowing that, God, there's something, I want to do something about this.
But actually, do you know what? And I think I can't speak for other men, but I think I speak for a lot of other men. When 10, 15 years ago, being a cock of the walk PT and all that kind of stuff, the typical, walking around with a 6-pack, muscles and all that, is like, I wouldn't have opened up and talked like that ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think that like it is changing a little bit, that thought process. So,
and so many women say to me, people say, "Who's the male version of you?" And I'm like, I don't have someone I can recommend, but they're like, "Oh, would you ever see my partner?" And it's like, it's so hard because you just don't want to keep saying yes because you want to stay in your lane and stay what you're good at, but there is a need and there's a requirement. And I've spoken to lots of men who've, I know a lot of people who've done qualified as coaches, but they're not coaching. And it comes back to that whole thing of like putting yourself out there and all of that stuff. And lots of great male coaches as well that could probably do a lot of good.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I always battle with this thing as well. It's like when I was 22, 23, made redundant, getting into PTing.
Yeah.
And it was always, one thing I've always had is a bit of drive and a bit of ambition.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it's just always been in me to do.
Same.
And when I got started, there was people I could look at where I go, I can replicate that, I can do that, that's something I can learn from. There was support with the government in place where I could go and get certain things and advice. And I beg, borrow and steal a lot of times to like get on courses and this and that. But I made the effort to go and do it all.
Yeah.
And I really went and done it all. And I look at like the way the world is now, and you look at like the Monastery documentary, and that's only like the sort of the icing on the cake of it all. The way social media is, the way the government is, where I was like, what? I always think about it, like what incentive is there for someone like the former version of me, the one who got all that support and that could look around. Like what incentive is there for someone who's like 21, 22, 23 to get out there and create this big idea that they might have? And I didn't realise at the time how good I had it.
Yeah.
But nowadays I'm looking at it, if my kids grow up, what incentive do they have to really kick on and make something a success and have an impact? And that's why I'm so purposeful and passionate about doing this, because if I can show them, actually, this is what I've done.
Yeah.
Whilst raising you two.
Oh yeah.
Whilst balancing everything else I've got going on, trying to maintain a marriage and all that. It's like that's
proof in the
that's
pudding,
the driver. And like honestly, I can honestly say like I've never worked so hard in my life as what I've done now.
And I want my girls to look at me and be like, oh, like mum created something that utilised all of her unique skills and something she loved and she worked hard and she made it her own.
It's funny that like me and you were like similar age, like 34. I mean, were you 34 when you did the fest?
I was 33 and then 35 at my second.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? Like, I mean, so me and you have had similar like trajectories in our life, similar ages when we started things. So yeah, thank you again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
That was unreal.
Yeah,
to be fair. I'm going to turn this around quick because I'm obviously going to Boston, so I want to get out.
That's brilliant.
This week. Happy days.
I know. Happy days indeed. Thank you so much.